All right, good morning, guys. Quick sound check. Let me know you can hear me. I'm not super excited about today, if I'm being totally honest there. Sound is good? Awesome. Thank you, thank you. I don't necessarily have any plans at the moment. The main thing I was kind of thinking here was the Russell up over the 6780s. But it almost just looks too easy. So I'm going to be patient here. Trader base down. That would be icing on the cake, if that is the case. Yikes, it's loud. All right. Are we still having trade evade issues? There's Apple up into that 273.38 level here. Again, I don't really have any plans per se at the moment, so I'm going to kind of just let this day start to take some shape here and see what it wants to do. It would make sense that NASDAQ wants to come down and trade, this 206 level and kind of get that out of the way. Update levels here in Meta, if it'll let me click, thank you. And let's go see something here real quick. Oh, they might actually be like fully down. Yep, they are. I can't even log into Ninja. That is unfortunate. Yep, I guess some type of internal server error issue there. So yeah, trade of 8 must be down entirely here. This is not cool. Not cool at all. Gold taking a nice little dump to the downside there. Yeah, AMD down 12% here. I do think let's see. I do think the Russell or the Dow is one or the other is worth a long. In the event, maybe we can trade 206s and kind of that, whatever that level is, like 609s for QQQ, which is just a little bit lower than that 206's. Kind of grab those overnight lows and then see if we can't pop back real quick in the NASDAQ. And at the moment, Russell kind of giving that up, so it looks like maybe it would be the Dow that would kind of have that going for it. Apple, though, is just strong like bull. Is there... Expiration's not for a while yet. Another like 16 days. What did it move this week? Total range so far is like 15 points. $288 are those highs. This thing is just moving. I don't know if it's possible, and it's a rather large move, but the 285 calls in Apple for today, these are those new 0 DTE things that we got going here. 285, it would be an absolute massive move, but they're like 2 cents. Like absolutely massive move. I don't know if it's possible. Russell coming back. I just kind of want to trade those 0 DTEs for something. It might be worth. Let me see where the. I'm just gonna pull a levels list for Apple real quick. That's interesting. 275.47, 287.32 is the next level above. I do wonder why it's given a 303 because we haven't traded there. I wonder if it's pulling like old pre split data. Interesting. I don't know. I'm testing out the new levels list here just to kind of see on Apple. Kind of good avoid so. Oh, gold is getting wrecked. I was gonna say a good avoid so far on the Russell there went back up through those highs and then came right back down. Yeah, there is legitimately nothing here in Apple until 287.32s. Wow. It's got a lot of room to move. I'm going to keep it on watch today. Um, yeah, I'm going to keep this on watch. I saw silver was moving pretty decent in pre-market. We were up like 91s and change there. Decent little pullback in here now. Maybe we pull back to this 88.71s and can hold here. Nasdaq tried to go a little lower, couldn't quite get those 206s. Now, yeah, close to opening print, definitely not above it. I put these 285s for Apple. It's a complete long shot, which I'm totally okay with if today's going to be more of this type of action. I put them on a order window here. If I trusted Nasdaq a little bit more, or we had kind of done that thing that I was talking about, the Dow, if we were down at those levels, the Dow here actually wouldn't be too bad. From that, I'm also looking at this 2-minute here in Apple. Our target's 287.32s. The risk reward on this is about to be insane, but I'm going to punch it in. $287. It's a 15-to-1 risk reward ratio here. If we can make it from here all the way up into 287.32s, 14.94 to 1. I grabbed some of these 285s. I just filled on some of those 285s. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the Should we do the 287 halves? I'm going to do just a small piece of those 287 halves as well. They're like pretty much a long shot here. They got to be sized for 0, of course. And we could be buying the high of this breakout here, but again, the risk reward on this is honestly a little bit insane. Sorry, I haven't checked the chat. A little bit of Apple. It would be an absolute historic move today, I think, out of Apple to see that happen. But at the same time, like it does also kind of have the potential here. So I'm okay with like putting that on. These 0 DTs, if they work, are going to be stupid. Like just downright insane. 287.32s. NASDAQ looks like maybe wants to try and push a little bit lower here still. Russell still kind of hanging out under that level. The Dow's holding this 592 so far. Did anybody take this? Da, 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 da. You're in at 273.38. Nice. Good work. I like that for you. Nobody mess it up so we can go to 287.32s. There's, I mean, I ran the levels list. There's legit nothing between here and there, which is kind of wild. I'll take a screenshot of that and drop it in the chat. I'm not exactly sure where it's pulling the I'm not exactly sure where it's pulling like these other 289 and that stuff at, but I'm assuming that is pre-split prices that it would be at, because it does have to fill a certain number of levels there on the sheet. It's interesting. We'll see. Ba, 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 ba. I mean, at the moment, this is the only thing I'm doing. Gold's coming back, actually, which is pretty decent little bounce off there. Looks like everybody is fully aware of the trade of 8 issue. That's crazy. Twice in the last 2 weeks, basically. We're also going through lows. Dow getting a pretty decent reversal bar there. Oh, you're in SLV. Oh, did silver bounce off that level? Okay, okay. I don't mind that. NASDAQ looks like we want to come down here. I mean, realistically, it doesn't seem like it's that great of a day at the moment. Either way, like, I mean, if anything, maybe you're taking this very, very tiny divergence, 386.75s. We popped up to 390s. Maybe you're trying to short off opening print up here above 294s and try and get us down to 206s. I mean, I guess it's technically like 170 points, but yeah, I don't know that I would do anything with it at the moment. Here's what we do. We collectively all just full port Apple and we chant like a rain dance for 287.32s. That's it. That's all we gotta do. I think. It seems crazy, but it is certainly possible. S&Ps came down 35.50s. We broke it by a tick there. NASDAQ actually held. Um, my man drilled down to the 1 minute. He said, give me the 15-second chart. That's funny. Dodge funny. Oh, shit. These 285s are 10 cents now. NASDAQ looks like it wants to keep going lower. Google breaking lows. Meta is weaker than I would have expected after earnings, too. I don't know that that was necessarily in the cards here for big gap and then essentially fade. Excuse me, the entire thing. There are some names that are getting just absolutely destroyed. PayPal being one of those. 40 bucks here. Like all-time lows in here is 30. That thing's in trouble. Sweet. NASDAQ at 206s. My phone is getting blown up today. All right. Meta didn't even seem to care about that 675.44s. Looks like we're turning. I think this is turning it red now from earnings. Like basically right here, 668 was that gap or the close of that bar for the gap. NASDAQ taking out those overnight lows now. Down here like 170s and change. You got 607 Q puts. Nice. For the weakness in AMD, we're really not seeing much out of NVIDIA, which is kind of surprising. I would have honestly kind of expected a little bit more weakness to hit kind of across the board in there. Well, those 285s topped out at 10 cents. And then NASDAQ took a poo-poo. The fun of zero DTEs on a random Wednesday. Russell and Dow are really not they're not doing any damage here per se on this pullback. You could argue that maybe the Dow could have held a little bit better up there at 592s. You could say the same thing. Russell should have held up there at 6780s, but we're certainly not taking out yesterday's lows or any of that stuff just yet. I don't know if we'll need it today, but I'm at least just going to scan for some individual relative strength. Lily being one of those. That's like the brightest thing on my screen today. The gap over red, it's holding here. I don't know when it makes a move, but AMD, PLTR, app even is struggling. Yikes. Oracle is struggling. A buddy of mine inherited some shares of Oracle from his grandfather like 6 months ago, basically at $300. And I mean, I laugh, but unfortunate. But his granddad lived to be like 98 or 99 or some shit. It was crazy. Um, but T like hasn't been able to do anything with those shares yet. And he's like, I've just had to sit there and watch them go from 300 to basically they got cut in half. And he's like, I can't do anything with them yet, which is that part's unfortunate. But there are some names that have gotten, I mean, like we looked at PayPal earlier, there are some names that have gotten beat up here. Uber's down 7% on the day, Hood's down 7% on the day, BSX is down 17%? Yikes. There are a lot of weak names out there. NASDAQ with a decent move back up, but again, we're a little bit too far down for me to I wouldn't even say that actually. Metal's making a decent little push as well there now. What do you guys think? You think we go back to highs today, or you think that you think we're done? So we're trying to push up through opening print there. Gold at 50, 25s. I mean, this was essentially the thing we were looking for, right? Was see if we can come down and kind of retake those lows or the overnight lows, take those out, get that 25,206s, and then see what market wants to do from there. I was willing to try Russell or Dow longs if that happened and we held up. We just didn't hold up. So now, and we got 2 points away from that 69.08 level there for S&Ps. I kind of think if we pull back, I want to add an actual position to Apple here, but I'm kind of debating to see if we pull back and test 275.47s. That initial like little 2-minute entry we took is still very valid, has not essentially stopped out yet if you were using shares or if you went closer to at the money on give me some options there. Pretty decent little rally back for NASDAQ though. Well, Alan Jackson. We've got this weird like daily 1, 2, 3 kind of looking thing going in the Dow. And I say weird just because it has like that big bottoming tail and kind of all that stuff going to it. But I am like slightly interested. I don't know what the entry is. I don't know what the rest of the markets are going to do just yet. NASDAQ kind of has me slightly concerned. But I am at least going to keep an eye on this. 752 is up there. If we get through that, there's legitimately nothing. I think my trade of 8 might be back. I was able to log in a Ninja. I don't know if anybody else wants to give it a try, see if they're able to get in. Trade of 8's up now. No, what you doing, Apple? This would be that area I would kind of expect Apple to hold here. I would love to see, we got another like 15 minutes to go or so. I would love to see this kind of pop back up just a little bit in the next like 15, 20 minutes or so. NASDAQ just pulled back and tested that 206 level again after having gotten back through it. Apple faded the whole thing back. That's obnoxious. Nasdaq sitting right over this 206 here. Is there news? 10:15? No. Yeah, the 10 a.m. ISM, but that was it. Apple. Cat doesn't seem to care either. It's just unfortunately 3 days, 4 days, basically straight up at this point. If you have strong relative strength, if you have good relative strength names, let me know. Give me cat. I just said cat. Cat was my idea. No, you're good. I thought you were trolling me for a second. Like, no way, he just said that. No, you're good. You're good. I'm just messing with you. Home Depot? Not terrible. Not my favorite looking daily bar from yesterday in there, but it's not bad. DG actually looks pretty good. I think that's the pullback low in Apple right there. That makes sense. Right there in Apple. I'm going to let this bar continue to form before I do anything with it, but I think that's the low right there for this pullback. The question is whether NASDAQ is done or not. I don't think Apple cares, but it has cared a little bit on this move. Yeah, I like that. I like that little wick right down in there to 274.88. If we can get new we can get a new entry into here, that would be ideal. Um, Kind of looks like 275, 76s. I kind of want to let NASDAQ get this close and figure itself out a little bit more before I step in with some Apple here, or additional Apple. I have the lotto size position on at the moment. But I kind of like the Dow. Entries are the tough part here today. Getting anything clean is a bit of a struggle, it seems like. This is my fear with the NASDAQ, though, is that we're going to come back down and take these lows. That S&P front run of 08s is not ideal. Meta, a decent little rally back there, back over 675s now. The crazy thing about the markets is like everybody everybody after Meta earnings was probably chasing to buy this thing up at, you know, freaking 730, 740s. And then it comes back to 670s and it's like nobody wants it at the moment. Like mentally, psychologically wise, it's like just it's just a tougher long for some reason. I think we're probably going to push these 749, 752s here for Dow, which we're kind of pushing at the moment. And if that's the case, then I really like Apple. A little bit of pullback in the metals there. We were at like 5100s overnight. Gold's at 120 point-ish swing down. Did you get some Apple, Hassan? 280, 0 DTs, 15 cents. I don't mind that. Yeah, I don't mind that. The Qs are the ones that I don't really know what to do with here. Like playing long from here is kind of tough. Yes, I mean we did get the level, we did all the things, right? But it's also like, are we expecting this to like take out yesterday's bar, like to the upside? Like I don't. Where do we take it as a target in terms of if we were looking to take something long in there? Because yeah, we can for sure bounce from these 609s, but like where we're going with that, I'm not entirely sure, right? So I think the Dow is a much cleaner, like clear cut example. It's like over 752s, like we have an infinite amount of room to the upside, right? It's a weird looking kind of uh, weekly looking kind of breakout there, a weird looking kind of daily 1, 2, 3 type of look to it. Like it makes sense. But when we look at like the Nasdaq here, it's like okay, are we legit going to rally 600 points back to the upside, which is what we did in the pre-market session, essentially Sunday night into Monday. So like it's not necessarily out of the cards, but also not the easiest thing to potentially play for. So I would love a relative strength name outside of just Apple. I don't know if that's possible though at the moment. Cat, LLY, Dollar General, Home Depot even. Nasdaq just traded those 294s. Apple is starting to maybe look a little bit better. We got a couple more minutes here till this close. So we'll give that a little bit of time. Dow's the only one to pop new highs there. Oh, what to do, what to do. Is ENPH making a decent move? If you like Apple, 275.32s, we just did that. Longs in here with stops under 275.29s. I like it. It's basically the same parameters as our first entry we had punched in here. But longs basically from here, stops under 275.29, gives you about $1 stop from right here. And targets are 11 points away, so it's not bad. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. What do you say? You got the 280s? I got them for 15 cents. 24 now. Sell me a couple for like 18 cents. Well, never mind. They're actually right there now. 19 cents. I was not talking to you, market. I don't know what I can do with this NASDAQ, though, is the only thing. Alright, Apple's looking good. There's a little 2-minute kind of 1, 2, 3 looking deal going here in Apple. If Nasdaq's going to hold off these 206s, it looks even better. Like I said, I would love to see Dow get up through that 752. Microsoft's getting a little bit of a bounce today too. That's a unexpected relief rally in there, I feel like. Google, on the other hand, still weak. I think it's Apple. I think we attach our freaking cart to Apple today and just let it see what it wants to do. I don't really want to add like a real full-size position in here just yet because of the weakness in NASDAQ still. Tesla 413. NVIDIA finally getting a little bit of selling pressure now too. AMD on lows. If Apple would have hung out like up around 277s and not gotten the pullback here to like 274s, I would like that a little bit better. It's still fine. It's still doing all the right things here. The market's just not at the moment. What do we print here? 747s we printed for Dow. Couldn't get over that 752s. Damn, gold's just in a free fall. Russell new lows, only market to do so. Does it mean anything? There's the question here. Not the easiest of conditions. I guess Tesla wasn't too bad off 423s. Oh, if we had the market, I think Apple would be up over 280s at this point. I mean, market was 200 points higher in NASDAQ and we were at, 278s. Again, it's the thing that we talked about with the Qs is like, where do we, that looks like some news of some sort. I don't know if I should trust that or not trust that information just now. What is this? What do we do with this? I was literally just about to finish the sentence of, but it's a tough long in NASDAQ because, like, where do we play it back to? All the way back up into yesterday's highs or not? And then we get a friggin' 137 2-minute bar to the upside. Somehow we get that and Apple puts in a red bar here. What are you doing, Apple? Even kind of getting the market in our favor with that little bit of movement just now. We still got a pullback there in Apple back down to the level here now at the moment. I don't know. This is getting a little bit messy for my liking. And whatever, I don't see anything. I didn't see anything come across the feed, but like that had to have been news of some sort to create that bar in NASDAQ. I mean, maybe it's not, but it looks like it certainly would be. It fits the description. Apple now getting a little bit of love off the level here, but NASDAQ, everything else still essentially doesn't know what it wants to do. The Dow looks like it's going to finally maybe push up through these 752s, and we're getting a little bit of love out of Apple there, but not enough to make me extra comfortable here in putting something else on. And we don't have the NASDAQ either just yet. I mean, I guess we could say that that's the low, right? If we want to make that argument, and the Russell got the divergence, NASDAQ's holding this 206s, you know, Dow breaking above 752s. Like, we could make an argument for that to be the low on the day. I just don't love that argument at the same time. I do, however, think that Apple up over 276.13s isn't bad. I don't mind this look on Apple now. She's looking a little better. NASDAQ is the only thing for me at the moment, which back up over 206s would start to look a little better. Up over 294 is even better at that point. Let's see, Apple here. What are these? Those 280s are now at 26 cents. Just can't bring myself to put any additional risk on in there with where NASDAQ is. Just kind of annoying me. I want to add these, but I'm gonna just I'm gonna hold tight at the moment with what I have on in there. But if you like Apple, stops could be under 275.30s here. Still a decent risk reward trade. It gives you about 2 to 1, little over 2 to 1 into new highs on the day. And then from there, like I said, it's wide open. If that had set up just like absolutely perfect back there, and we had seen, you know, that little dip under 206s, and Nasdaq could have regained it, maybe Dow would have, you know, I mean, Dow not holding 592s wasn't necessarily a big deal, but getting up through 752s and kind of that whole picture, then I think we would have a rather sizable position here in Apple. But at the moment, I want that market with this move, even though I still have some on. I'm just trying to stress that point a bit. Lily's making the move though. It's like one of my least favorite names to trade probably, but it's starting to work. Stops on that thing are just wide. It's like NASDAQ, where are you going? I have a 25025s marked down here. I'm assuming this is an overnight low from a couple weeks ago. Just based on the color of the mark and all that for me. That's 125 points to go. I don't know that it's enough of an important factor at the moment. There's a little bit of strength in Netflix today. Again, it's a weird, there's strength in some unusual names that we haven't seen get that strength, like a Microsoft, for example, in a little bit of time here. Apple's starting to work again. Like I say that, I'm gonna scare it. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I've got those 280s on watch. They're really not moving. They're sitting right here like 25 cents. I think they're good. I just can't do additional risk at the moment with the Nasdaq. So if we run, it's going to be phenomenal. I'll be fine. But the initial little like 2-3 hour scalp we could probably take on the first part of this position, I am not going to be able to participate in. And I'm just trying to stay, excuse me, I'm just trying to stay disciplined as much as I don't want to. At the moment, that seems to be the best case scenario here. Russell's about to make new lows again. Apple a little pullback and bottoming tail now. Looks like it's it's holding so far. Nice, good work, Julian. That's one that you like to trade, LLY. That and Costco. Russell didn't quite make lows. The Dow's still holding just like right under the 752s here. NASDAQ coming down for lows here. What was that? Is NASDAQ breaking 25097s? I don't know what that came from, but that wasn't low a day. Must have been an old level or an old alert. NASDAQ new lows, Russell new lows, S&Ps and Dow still kind of holding in there. Tesla's about to trade into that 408.47s there. And Meta came back down under that 675s. S&P's maybe want to test this 69.08. These are tough. These are tough conditions. I mean, again, maybe you tried shorts in NASDAQ off of either the divergence this morning or that retest up into 294s. And if so, like, you're having a phenomenal day. Like, if those one or both of those trades have hit your account today, then you're doing really, really well, because each of them have moved, 200 plus points. And potentially maybe even more. Otherwise, though, I think it's been tough. Like, yeah, there certainly was an Apple trade early. We caught a nice little entry there, just playing it a little bit differently for a larger move. Also understanding where markets are at and kind of that thing. So I'm not obviously green on the day, but I'm not going to be super, super red in the event that it doesn't work out. So, and that's the piece that I'm trying to like put together now is like, is there something that we can actually do? And I feel like the best moves, I mean, unfortunately, like Lily was probably one of the better moves. Cat had good strength, but again, it's 4 days to the upside, which is kind of the same problem we run into with Apple. It's pretty much the same problem we're going to run into like damn near everywhere with anything that's strong. Yesterday did kind of change that picture a little bit just because of the massive down move market had, but excuse me. Unfortunately, we're just going to have to twiddle thumbs as this market goes lower. I don't have a way to I don't have a way to really play it. Where we go? We crack 600s. The options are already expensive. Yeah, options are pricey already. I don't know. Anybody have any tickers they want me to take a look at? I can certainly do that. Tesla's about to trade this 408. CB. Wow. I don't know what this is. Chubb. It's making a nice move on earnings. Looks like earnings today. I don't know if there's anything to do with it at the moment, but all-time high break. This thing's about the strongest thing on the board. It's up 19 bucks today. The 350 calls for February expiration, they're not bad. They're like 50 cents. I don't even know if you can get them though. They're filling them at 3 or at the 350s at 50 cents. CB. I don't know, a little second day earnings move. It's got 16 days until expiration on those. I picked up a few just to see if they would even give them to me. They're still 50 cents on bid or on ask. I didn't even try to work any prices in there, but I don't know. Nice little rally back now. UPST. What are my thoughts on playing SLV and GLD? I like it. I mean, they've been good movers. Like, I certainly can't complain about the movement in them lately. They've had some pretty decent ranges. I kind of expected us to hold a little bit better today, but I'm still kind of thinking that we trade like, 52s, 5200s, give or take, for gold here. AMPX. I don't even know if I have a monthly on my thing. Okay, I see that. AMPX monthly. Yeah, I don't know what they do. Not that it matters, but hopefully nobody's watching that's a chiropractor. Watch me crack my neck. Yeah, market doesn't care. Apple coming right back down. I think this is a good, I mean, as unfortunate as this is and as annoying as it is, I think it's a really good point, though, of having the market in your favor. Like, again, if market was 300 points higher, like it was this morning, and we were trending, then, or just not dying potentially, then I think Apple has a much different move, and the chart looks totally different at this point. Which was the thing in which I was kind of leaning towards is, hey, can we hold 206s, make this move? Now we're kind of in a position where it's like, okay, we essentially we don't have the markets. We have a strong name, but we don't have the markets here. If we could get the markets, then we've got what I think is the move left in us, but we don't have that yet. And this weakness in Tesla is probably something to pay attention to. S&P's still yet to trade that 6908s. Anybody capture any of the short today? Or currently still short? No trades today. So is it 11:22? It's still the strongest name I see on the board. This is a random chub. Those options are still sitting. They're like 18, 19 cents right now. Those are the 280s for Apple. They really haven't moved a ton. We still somehow are front running the 69.08 for S&Ps. We traded 09 quarters there, but we're getting a little bit of a bounce kind of across the board there. Dow's coming back off that 592 level. That just got about a 100-point bounce. S&Ps with a 10 or 12-point bounce. So we're like not trying to give this area up super easily. I say that and then we can slice right through it, but I am starting to like that Apple is holding and kind of building a little bit of consolidation up here. I'm still not willing to do anything additional just yet, but that's going to take some work. I didn't have where are we? pullback for Russell. Yeah, the one thing about the Russell is we still never traded those 2608.50s, which is kind of unfortunate we didn't do that on Monday. Somebody was trying to sell the Walter White house for $4 million. They just dropped it to 400 grand. It sat on the market for a year. Someone probably would have paid like 1.2, 1.5 maybe for it. Dow popped back up there, almost traded 752s. I had an alert set. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. If Nasdaq can end the downtrend and like at least try and start to work some semblance of maybe the end of that downtrend, then we might be able to do something additional here with Apple. But at the moment, I still can't do anything. And I would feel much better if we got over 752s for the Dow. Tesla's trying to hold this 408.47s at the moment too. I don't think there's any way to play this either. These options are too expensive. Not any volume really either. Hard pullback in Apple there. I think we might just have to might just have to walk away. I don't know if we're gonna be breaking anytime soon here. Yeah, I might walk away for a bit and come back and just see where this is later. Maybe go hit the gym, do something. S&Ps might just get those 69.08s here. Mm-hmm. Wow. Probably one of the more boring days in a while. Any objections to me just walking away? Anybody have a good reason as to why I should stay? What was that? NASDAQ at or below that 25,025, which I'm assuming that was the overnight low from a couple weeks ago. NQ shorts from 113.50s. Okay. I don't mind that. You just took the you took that last 5 minutes all set up basically. We waited all this time for S&Ps to trade the 6908s, and then we just absolutely blew right through it. Paper handed your Q puts earlier. I just haven't been able to get on the right side of this move either way. The Tesla move is rather interesting though, cracking 408s. Nvidia's giving it up a bit too there, 173s. I don't know. Again, I think I might just take a walk. Like, there's probably not going to be anything for me to do here. NASDAQ below 941 quarters. That is a move. You got your 941s. Traded 940 and a quarter, 1 point through. Getting a bounce off 941s here. Market kind of rallying this back a little bit. Apple doesn't seem to be too interested in rallying this back, though. Most likely going to end up with a bit of a topping tail on the daily chart in there. It could probably even turn red if NASDAQ doesn't rally any of this back. 11:56. I'm wondering if I should be long NASDAQ or potentially Dow or something here. Dow gave a little shimmy. S&P is back up in the 69.08s here. We didn't quite get those lows from yesterday, and I think that 68.79 is an overnight low from a couple weeks ago as well there. I feel like I've kind of already checked out though, so I'm going to leave it at that. All right, 12 o'clock coming up on top of the hour here. I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap it up, but that's a decent 100-point bounce from 941s there in the NASDAQ. I don't know if it's going to hold or not, but all right, I'm going to wrap it up. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything else here. Apple's kind of coming back a little bit now. I don't know if I love this look to it, but again, I can't do anything at the moment still with where Nasdaq's at, so I'm kind of stuck there regardless, which has been the theme of the entire day, unfortunately. And I wish it would have been a pretty easy, like clean cut and dry type of day and capture a short and call it done, but I did not see nor find that entry, so unfortunately that is not what it is. But anyways, that's what I got for today. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, just wrap it up here. It's 12 o'clock. I don't think I'm going to do anything. If I do, I'll punch it in. And if I do, it's likely going to be an Apple. So if this thing can find some strength here and start to rally and do something, then I'm down to potentially put some more risk on in there. But I'd like to see the market at least try and find a bottom here, which maybe it's doing. So I'll set some alerts, come back and check on it. But as of now, that's what I got, which is a whole lot of nothing. So anyways, appreciate you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. And we do have some more earnings and stuff coming up. So I am looking forward to that and let this market figure itself out and kind of get out of this range. Well, I guess we technically did break out down out of the range, but Dow is still sitting at the upper end of the range. So interesting spots. But yeah, anyways, that's what I got. I will see you guys tomorrow. As always, if you need me, please feel free to reach out.